Hey, what's going on, guys? Phil and Cruz here. Live. Cruz is in Breckenridge, Colorado, outside, working on that heavy lung capacity. So he's going to be able to, when he gets back to ocean level, he's gonna be sprinting. He's no longer need a car. He's gonna everywhere
Just
he
run
goes.
everywhere.
He's gonna run everywhere like in Conan.
Yeah, it's a lot higher here than sea level. So Breck's at what 90. So I think this place the sign outside it says like it's 9,700. So anything that you're doing here, any hikes or anything, are starting at least 9,700 feet. More like usually by the time you drive off the road, and you're at the trailheads or so, they're usually starting around like 10, 10.5 or so, and then vary in elevation on like depending on which one you're doing.
Which is still
But
very
now,
high. That's very high. Like to even
oh
start.
yeah, yeah. It's very decent altitude. Um, it's high enough that I guess you could get altitude sickness at this height. I guess it does bother some people. It hasn't bothered me really too much at all. So that's been good. But Breckenridge is gorgeous. Yeah, I'll flip the camera around. So this is like, so behind me is the hostel. We're staying at the Bivy. Great hostel up here in Breckenridge. Obviously during wintertime,
Mm.
like the price goes up. I think the price like doubles during the wintertime or so. So right now, for a bunk, the cheaper bunk, the 6-person one. So they have sixes, they have fours, and then they have privates. Um, right now, the 6-person bunk is like 41 or so plus tax, but it comes with like a homemade breakfast every day. So one day it'll be like pancakes and sausages with like granola, yogurt, fresh fruit. And then the next day it'll be like cheesy eggs and hash browns with granola, cereal, fresh fruit. And it just switches back and forth between that. But they cook it here. Real eggs, real pancakes. Like it's not like out of a car and they're cracking eggs.
Mm.
It's actually it's really, really decent. It's out. It's there from 7:30 to 9. Eat as much as you want. I had like 2 big plates this morning. I haven't eaten since, so I'll only have dinner tonight.
Mm.
Um, and it's really good. And like the people that are working here, Eli, Russ, this other girl, Michelle, I've actually only seen her once, maybe twice. Um, they're all wicked nice. Place is really great. Here, let me flip this camera now. So I'll show you. This is the view off the back side of the place. So you can see that's like main Breckenridge down there. You got the mountains in the back. And that chain of mountains right there is the Rockies. And they're extending left and right, and they just keep going and going and going and going. So it's a beautiful, beautiful view. I have a great picture. Like, I guess there's not usually that many amazing sunsets here, but last night happened to be like a really good one. Came out and got a couple pictures of that. It was like gorgeous. Like it was actually had like this red glow on the clouds and stuff over the mountains. It was
Mm.
beautiful. Um, Downtown Breckenridge is really cool. Tons of shops, tons of restaurants, bars, and everything. I could only imagine what it would be like if it wasn't COVID time, because that entire zone, because there's so many, essentially there's so many people walking around. That whole area down there is actually a mask zone. So actually, as you hit the downtown, even if you're outside, it's mask zone for like the whole stretch of Main Street,
Wow.
which I can understand. So, yeah, because they actually blocked off Main Street. You can't even drive down it right now. They blocked it all off so all the restaurants could open up like outside seating there.
Mm-hmm.
So they blocked off that street for like a couple blocks, probably a half mile at least, where they just shut down the whole street there, and everybody's got their setup. So you're walking by everybody, you're walking through everything. So I can understand why they did. Like they just made it a mask zone, just make it simple. Um, some people have it down, whatever, because they're eating. You're not gonna if you're on Main Street and you pick up an ice cream cone. You're not gonna like walk off of Main Street to eat your ice cream cone. Like, of course, like yeah, you take your mask down and eat your ice cream cone, whatever. No, everybody's been cool about it, so that's good. Um, but it looks like there's a couple spots that I found that I was like, you know what? Like, if this was actually like prime time, there was a lot of stuff going on. I was like, you know what? This seems like a pretty decent bar to go out to and hang out. Like Eric's downstairs seems pretty cool. The canteen, I want to go back there. I'd already eaten a big meal after my hike, so I didn't want to crush another huge meal Even though I burnt a ton of calories, I was still like, all right, you know what? I'll have like something light. I'll have a salad. The canteen, I guess they like smoke all their own pastrami and pork and everything. And they have like this unbelievable Reuben. I'm kind of a sucker for Reubens. I want to go back there. They were super nice to me as like a one person just coming out. It's like, I got this two top, but you know, I need it in like 45 minutes if you think you can get it in. But she totally worked with me. And then came out, she's like, oh no, don't worry, I move stuff around. So the canteen, downtown Breckenridge, awesome people there. If you're ever in there, definitely go check it out. They were amazing, and the food was awesome. So, but basically, yeah, just been working during the week and hiking. You can't. I would say within like a 30-minute drive, whatever direction, any direction you want to go, you can get to 20, 25 different outdoor things to do it between hikes and different things across this whole place. If you go an hour, say 45 minutes to an hour, countless 20, 30, 40 different trails all around. I mean, you're just out in the middle of the mountains. And I'm not talking about like little rinky-dink trails. I'm talking about like hikes, like legitimate good miles to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-mile hikes. A lot of them here you end up going above tree line too. So it's pretty high. Definitely if you come out, I would say acclimate a little bit, get yourself warmed up. The reviews on them, they're a little mixed. Sometimes you can tell, at least for me, I can tell after I've gone on one, like, all right, this person was like underselling it, this person is overselling it, but it could just also be those people's particular fitness and ability level. But these hikes, even if you're in decent shape, the hikes that are going on, they will challenge you. You absolutely will be sweating. Like you'll be sweating, you will be breathing heavy. Like they're not easy. I mean, you go for 2 miles and you go up 15 to 2,000 feet in that stretch. That's with some of it being like rock scrambles, not just path, not just incline, but like scrambling up, scrambling down. Like it's a bit of a workout. But it's been great. So I was telling you before, so one of the hikes was Spruce Creek, which I would say is not my scenic wise, it's my favorite one so far. You got up top to the final top lake, and as you're like walking up, like your view is cut off, and then suddenly like your head like breaks, and like the lake is like right there on the trail. Like it's like literally like the second you head your paw up, you're like, holy crap, like there's a huge lake right here, and you're up way above the tree line. It's obviously it's a natural lake coming from the snow melt. There's trout in the river or in the water there. You saw it. You're kind of walking by like the runoff that during like peak melt season would really be coming down. You peek up there and it was beautiful. So I was just sitting there, and when I first got up there was a mountain goat up on the left. So I saw him. I knew he was there. So I took a picture of him. I was like, "Oh, hey, mountain goat, what's going on?" And then there was a few other people there. And they went up because he ducked behind. So they went up there like, oh, I wonder if more. I was like, oh, there might be more, but yeah, sure. So they went up there and they were like, oh, yeah, there's like 4 up there. They came back down. They kept going around the lake. They left their bags. So I'm just sitting there. All of a sudden, like one of them yells over and they're like, hey, the goat's sneaking up on you. Like the goat. So I jump up. So I didn't want to get snuck up on by the goat. And he takes off running. But he was just inspecting, so whatever. So I'm there for a bit longer. And then, like, his buddies start showing up. So now there's, like, 4 goats. And I'm sitting there. Like, they keep coming, like, eyeing. Like, you know, I'm watching them. I got a few more pictures, but they're, like, keep coming a little closer and eyeballing. And they kept, like, I would get up and move a little ways. And then they come a little closer. I'd get up and move a ways. They keep coming a little closer. So it turns out that, like on that high peak, they just wanted to come across and walk up and go up to the other high peak, as opposed to like going around the whole lake, which I completely understand. But yeah, they totally bullied me out of the spot, got me out of the way, and then they went running by.
I think that's hilarious. Just goats being up there, like, yeah, that's their spot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Kept creeping in to like get out of the way. So, and then when I was leaving there, actually, there was like a moose on the trail on the way back and stuff, which was pretty cool. Um,
Ooh, you got to be careful of those too.
yeah, no, I was in my, at this point. So there was one that I missed that was at the lower lake up there. It's actually a moose in the calf, but it was across the way, which was good. I missed that one. Somebody told me about it on my way back down. I was actually back in my car driving out, and like I saw way in the distance down the road a little ways, like the moose going across. I tried to get the camera and get a picture of him, but he was gone. It was a smaller. It wasn't like a big bull. It was a little bit smaller as far as it goes. But I mean, it was still big. Still head was like up above the car and stuff. But you could just tell it wasn't like a huge, massive one. So
Yeah, yeah.
um, that was good. And then yeah, so like I told you last week about the 14ers, how that's kind of a thing out here. So I bagged 4 of those on Saturday in one loop. It's called the Calibron loop, I believe, and it's Democrat, Lincoln, Ross, and Cameron. And you do it in one loop. Total elevation, they say, is like a little over 3,000. Total distance, a little over 8 miles. I went from the Kite Lake trailhead, and your first one is your biggest. You head up Democrat, you come back down, you go up Cameron, come down Lincoln, and then you end up with Ross. And it's a good hike. So that's the one that I would say is probably like the most mixed reviews. They're like, oh, you see reviews like, oh, I did it last week, with like my 10-year-old and 16-year-old. Like, oh, those kids are in pretty good shape because that hike was actually pretty decent.
Well, you know what it is too, right? Sometimes, like, oh, they someone brings their kids up there, but their recreation is hiking. Like what they do at
Yeah,
when they come home from school, what they do on the
that's like
weekend. That's their thing.
that's their family. That's their family fun adventure. Like they're always out hiking,
Yeah.
and so they leave that out on the reviews. So I will say that do a couple other hikes, do a few other hikes before you go and try that one. And if you summit 1, summit 2, and you feel that's good enough, that's good enough. You can turn around and go back down. I pushed all 4 and went through. And a ton of people do. See a ton of people on there pushing them, but like you're gonna be a little tired at the end. Like that was a legitimate hike.
Yeah.
It was good.
Let's backtrack a little bit here. So if anyone that's watching right now, if like cruise right now is above 9,000 feet. You said 9,700.
9.7. Yeah.
And sometimes it's very difficult for people to get acclimated even to to like Denver. So, doing like a hike like this at this elevation from the start, probably not a good idea. Um, you know, Cruz is a little bit of a beast. He didn't have any issues when we were in Peru, but it's one of those things where, before we even actually did any hiking, we spent at least a couple days just to acclimate to the elevation, because you don't realize right away, your body just feels different, and it might not be bad, but like you could be walking up a set of stairs and you're puffing and puffing, and you don't even know why. You're like, why is this so hard? And you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm
Yeah.
9,000 feet in elevation. So just kind of be wary of that. And then on top of the fact, like, oh, there's reviews, he's describing about, a
Those could be
parent.
coming from people that live around the area, that lived here their whole life. So that's why you'll see such a wide range in some of the reviews, especially for some of the hikes that aren't like 14ers, like the McCullough Gulch is actually a decent hike. And you'll see some reviews where it's like, we had like a little bit of an older crowd. It took us 5 hours, and like not knocking them, but like I did the McCullough Gulch hike and so I will admit that there was like this younger couple in front of me. They were like probably 21, 22, and they were flooring it. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I started booking to keep up with them. They were moving. Like they were absolutely moving. They crushed it. It was like 2.5, 3 miles going up pretty steep. And I think we did this thing in like just barely over an hour. We were flying. Like, we got up to the top, and I was like, oh, finally caught up with them. And I was like, oh, nice pace. They're like, oh yeah, you too. I was like, whatever, get out of here.
Like they're not even breaking a sweat.
They were fine. the girl that was I like, she was like setting the pace. She was moving. Um, yeah, it was a good pace. So when like I did that, and then they were like, you see a review that's like, oh, it took us like 5 hours to get up there. Like that's the swing on it. Like it's a little bit your overall level, how acclimated you are, and everything to what's going on. I say just take your time and just sit down, take a rest. 2 breaths in, 1 breath out. Um, Keep moving, slow down your pace a little bit. I found that's a big help. Don't stop. Stopping isn't always the answer. Like
Mm.
you start to cramp up. You don't. It's necessarily not keep getting the breath. You got to get that. You got to like keep moving, keep your muscles going, keep the heart rate elevated, but you just got to get that breath back. So you want to just slow your pace down. You got to find that like rhythm that you can like maintain. So you want to slow it down, keep slowly moving, getting your breath back, a couple breaths in, one out, find that good rhythm. Um, you have a lot more success than just stopping and then trying to go, stopping and then going, stopping and then going. You got to kind of, suck it up and let your body acclimate, find that good pace for you. That works.
Now, is there a particular technique? I know one of the techniques that you and I were using is taking very small steps to for some of the incline stuff, and rather than taking larger big gap steps, and then you take smaller steps like pitter patter steps, and just go at a faster rate. What type of technique were you doing for the hiking?
So I've switched between those two depending on how steep. So if it started to get like, if it was like a medium, incline where you don't have to like step up, you can kind of shuffle. I'm going a little shorter breaths, keeping the pace going with kind of that like fluid 1, 2, 1, 2 shorter motion. When it started to get a little bit steeper, I'm going with like a longer breath with a longer step. So
Mm.
like one, and then just keeping the momentum kind of going right with it, right with the breaths. 1, 2, 1, and leaning forward. Try and get that weight up and forward over your knee, so that way you're not pulling yourself back. Lean into that incline,
Mm.
and just I don't know. I've just had this thing this whole time about like just not stop. Like I do. I'm not taking breaks. Like I hate taking breaks. Like I'm doing whatever I can to like, even if my pace to get my like wind back, I'm just crawling along. I'm not stopping. And then the second that like the wind comes back, I'm going again. And it's helped. It's paid off a lot. Like each hike has gotten a lot easier.
Well, I think that's an important thing too. It's like I think you kind of nailed it on the head there. It's like it's not always great to just stop, and a lot of times too, if someone is going to stop, you kind of want to stop like gradually. I don't know if that's not like it's kind of like with running. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to just if you're going for a long distance run, you don't want to just stop. It's usually like you want to go for a little bit of a walk, kind of start to do the cool down stage.
Yeah. Slow that pace down, because I know like every time you like stop, to get going again, especially if you're stopping on an incline to get going again. Oh,
Yeah.
it hurts.
The,
It's
the,
like worse than before you stopped. You're like, oh, and, so that's why I just keep motoring along. Just slow it down. Just slow it down and shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. You'll be fine. That breath will come back.
yeah.
Because like the once you get to a certain point, like you can't get that actual energy back in the amount of time that you're going to break for. Like you would have to break for hours and or a day to actually get that muscle energy back. Like the 5-10 minute break, it doesn't actually do anything as far as your overall energy level.
Yeah.
That energy is spent. It's gone. It's not coming back. So the whole break is just a mental thing. You're better off just like slowing down and just getting your breath back that way with little shuffles.
So, we got a few people here, and so just to kind of clue them in again. So right now, Cruz is in Breckenridge, um, at
The
at
bivy.
at the bivy. So if anyone that's watching right now, if you guys ever been to Colorado, if you guys ever touched base in this area, drop a line. But Cruz, as far as your rating, 1 to 10, one being the worst, 10 being the best, how would you rate Breckenridge compared to other places that you've been to so far in Colorado?
Oh, Breckenridge has been a great place. I'm going overall, Breck. I give a strong 8.
Mm,
That's really high. That's really, really high. People that I've met have been awesome. The Bivy itself, I'm giving a high 9 as far as the hostel goes.
mm,
Uh, if I'm being like super critical, I would say just for like modern day hostels, I would say the only thing it's really missing is like on the bunks. It doesn't have the blackout curtains,
mm.
which you know how it is. Like having the actual like pods with the blackout curtains it's kind of big nowadays. Like that's awesome. Any place that's doing newer stuff, they're usually doing it that way.
Yeah.
But excluding that's like my number one knock on the place. Everything else is awesome. Super clean inside. I mean, you can see it behind me. Huge log style cabin.
No,
See,
that is an actual log cabin, right?
oh yeah, no. These are fundamentally these are holding up logs. Like we can. I'll go inside in a minute. There's going to be a lot of people kind of around, back and forth, jumping around. So it'll be a little difficult. It's like the common area is pretty communal, pretty common. But I'll go inside and show here a quick little bit. I'll give a quick little tour around right now. Let me switch the camera.
Sure.
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, look at
So,
that place, man. Woo!
oh yeah, so yeah, the place is awesome. This is where they put out breakfast in the morning. Common area.
Wow.
So this is the whole downstairs common area.
Oh, we might get a copyright strike because of the music in the background.
La la la. No, I think if you sing over it, it's fine. I think it's allowed to sing over it. I'll walk down the hall.
Wow, that's cool. That is really cool.
Oh, it's unbelievable. So then I was saying about obviously, it's Breckenridge. It's meant for skiing. Like out here, obviously, this is where you're throwing like all your boots and stuff during the wintertime. Of course, empty right now. Yeah, I'd say the price, I think it doubles. I think in the wintertime up here during peak time, I think it goes up to like $80. Still with breakfast, everything included and stuff, which is, I mean, for this area, is not bad. Some beers on tap, little fireplace and stuff. And then downstairs is some other rooms. And then upstairs, you head upstairs, and then obviously the rooms and stuff are upstairs too. So overall, I mean, unbelievable place, great. And then that's like the Bivy staff kitchen. There's a little kitchen downstairs. That fridge you can use. Little microwave. I actually have some leftovers there. I'm debating if I'm eating leftovers. I should eat them and not go out, but we'll see. And then we'll come outside. Hot tub's operational. I'm definitely going in that later. My hips and my knee sore. Not as young as I used to be. You can grill. You can grill something up if you want. Got propane. Good to go. And then fire going. They'll always turn on the fire at night. It's nice to sit by. Cools off a lot here. So we're up at the same like altitude that you were at when you were in like Quito and we're in Cusco and stuff. So the temperature's been ranging from 40 to 70s.
Mm.
Yeah, and then that's kind of the general view again. And that's down the whole side.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's like a beautiful spot.
Oh no, the place is gorgeous. It's completely gorgeous. Downtown area is great too. It's really, really nice in downtown. A little pricier. It's not a cheap town. The hostel price bang for your buck is amazing, especially, in the United States. $40 here for this thing.
With the meals
with
included.
the breakfast, yeah, that's unbelievable. But downtown, going out to eat and everything is not the cheapest place. but you can find decent, you can find stuff. It's just, yeah, it's going, if you're eating on the cheaper end, it's still going to probably be about 15 to 20 bucks for a meal if you're trying to be cheap. Um, Tough to find much lower than that unless I maybe just grab like a slice of pizza or something. But I mean, it's kind of where you are, It's Breckenridge. It's not, sir, it's not Vale. Vale would be like $30 for a slice of pizza in Vale. Jesus. But
For a slice.
yeah, places where Vale's apparently is super bougie. I have to drive through it just to go and see it, but yeah, I'm not staying in Vale.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I mean, no complaints. It's a great, it's like, it's obviously it's a ski town. That's how it started, but as like a summertime getaway, unbelievable. I would absolutely come out here, do some hiking and everything as like a family getaway. Gorgeous, beautiful. Everybody's been really nice, really centrally located. If you're just going around town, the bus is free. They don't want you driving. There's bus stops. You can actually get on the bus and go around free. The
Wow.
gondola that brings you up the mountain a ways. There's stuff up there, restaurants and stuff for you to pay for, but the gondola up is free. They do stop it during thunderstorms though. So it's just there's just those couple things alone, and then it's not far outside of Denver. It's only like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to drive out here. The drive out here is beautiful. Drive out here is up and over the mountains through the tunnel and stuff is gorgeous. Highly recommend it if looking for like a summertime getaway family. Absolutely come up here.
So
Or even just like, go ahead.
So on another note, I mean, so you're almost 3 weeks now on the road. It's hard to believe that. But you're closing in on that. I mean, your general idea of this whole traveling thing during this whole COVID situation, has your idea changed about traveling? Is it dangerous? Is it, what's your observation on what's out there?
I haven't found it dangerous at all. I mean, I haven't run into anybody. I haven't had anybody in the hostels or anybody be like, oh, we're sick or quarantine. I mean, of course it's going on. It's out there. It's not a thing. It just hasn't been, besides just the rules being in place, I haven't actually seen necessarily really the effect of this. You know what I mean? So I've seen much more of the rules than the actual issue itself. Like it hasn't come up. It hasn't come up anywhere. It hasn't affected me. It hasn't affected anybody that I talk to or see anybody. People coming off the Colorado Trail. I've probably met and talked to on this for, I say, I've 20 or 30-minute conversations since I've been traveling. I've probably talked to 40 people, at least that long. Whether it's somebody just you meet up at the top of the trail and you end up talking about them. I met their teachers in Nebraska, two brothers. They were up at the top of one of the trails. They just came out here. They were tenting, hiking, summertime. They usually do international stuff, but they obviously can't do international now, so they were just hiking up here. Nothing. Other kids here, nothing. So that's the only thing is while it's so prevalent in the news and the restrictions are, I haven't come across it. And it's not like I've been hiding under a rock.
You've been hiking, yeah, you're out and about and at a hostel. I mean, so it's pretty packed, right? This hostel is definitely a lot busier than the one in Denver. Correct?
They're running 50% capacity on the bunks because of COVID, just like the restaurants and stuff. And over the weekend they turned people away. They were full.
Okay.
They were full. I mean, last night there was 8 people in the hot tub. I'm sitting inside. There's 2 people out here. There's people around. Especially seems like over the weekend got pretty busy and stuff, just with some extras. And then it doesn't. So this is actually Breckenridge. So if you start over near the Denver area on the Colorado Trail, this is the first, after your first stretch of 120 miles or so about, the Breckenridge area is your first pit stop for the Colorado Trail. There's a ton of people doing the Colorado Trail. Like I've met at least 10, 15 people just between here and the other hostel that like are doing the Colorado Trail. There's 4 backpacks. They probably checked in now, but there was like 4 or 5 backpacks of people that are checking in tonight that just got off of the Colorado Trail.
Wow,
Uh,
that's cool.
yeah, I mean it's 485 miles. That's not.
Woo!
That's a walk. That is,
Oh,
that is a walk.
that's commitment.
So yeah, anybody? I know it's a ski town, but I highly recommend Breckenridge for a summertime getaway, now or in the future. Don't stay in Denver. Don't, don't,
Don't stay.
don't stay in Denver. Denver got a C minus, crappy minus. They got
It's passing. C minus. It's passing.
C minus. Yeah, maybe I'll go back when there's no COVID and like some nightlife's going on and stuff, and maybe it'll get raised up to a B minus, boring minus. But for right now, C minus. Come out to Breckenridge. Definitely come out to Breckenridge. Get up in the mountains. It's a lot better.
All right. So Penny Pincher brings up a message here. Wish there was some cooking on the grill. Um, are you going to be returning to some cooking at all while you're on the road? Um, what's the scenario for, let's say, next week?
I don't know where I'm going to be next week. But we can try and do some cooking. Maybe we'll do some eating out. We'll do some. Definitely, we could definitely do something on something. I don't think I'll be here next week. I'm just not quite sure. So we'll probably talk about that after. I'll tell you some other spots that are around here that I want to see. So Leadville, which is a town that's not far from here, was originally going to be the capital of Colorado. They were making millions mining silver and everything out of there.
Mm.
I didn't get the rest of the story, but obviously it didn't become the capital of Colorado. But it's an old mining town. Been there for like 160 years. There's a saloon where some guy got shot for over something. They have like, it's just like this super classic mountain mining town that I kind of want to go see, and it's not far from here. So that could be a stretch over the weekend, and then back towards Denver, but not next to Denver, northwest of it, past Boulder, is that whole area is Rocky Mountain National Park. Within Rocky Mountain National Park is Estes Park, which is like a town, which is kind of touristy, but it's supposed to be gorgeous and like in the dead center of Rocky Mountain National Park, which has more, like it doesn't have it has a few 14ers by, but it has just more hiking trails than you could imagine. It's Rocky Mountain National Park. I wanted to spend some time there. So there's a chance that that's where I might be on Monday. Trying to plan stuff around hostels, of course, and some other stays. I know Leadville has one. Apparently it's cold. They don't turn the heat on too much there. That's what I heard from somebody. So we'll see how that goes. There's one in Salida. Salida is far away. It doesn't look far away, but these mountain roads are not fast. Like driving around the mountain roads up and over and like the zigzags you have to do is not fast. Like if you look at it on the map, you're like, I should be there in an hour, and it's like 5 hours away. It's not close. So I don't know if I'm going to go to Salida. They have a place there. There's a hostel in Colorado Springs that I would actually potentially stay. That's back over through Denver and then down. Not the worst. And then there's one in Boulder. The one in Boulder, it kind of matches Boulder, and it's a little pricey, which is Boulder, Colorado. It's like, it looks gorgeous. It looks nice, but it's like $72 a night. No food, no breakfast, no nothing.
For a hostel?
Yeah, for a hostel. It's like getting close to like an Airbnb price.
Yeah. I was gonna say well, those types of prices I can see happening. In an area that's a little bit more expensive. I've seen stuff like that in San Francisco where a price for a hostel is like the exact same price that you would find at a kind of normal hotel in a small city.
Yeah, it's just there's certain areas around here where it's cheaper, and certain areas where it's just more expensive. I would say by far, not even close, best value for your dollar so far, like just from all the ones I've looked at and talked to other people, is the Bivvy here in Breckenridge. Like not even close.
Mm. So what's
So if I'm
what's the climate like over there? Because it's like 92 degrees, super humid here in Bedford.
right now, sunny, slightly overcast, probably a cool 68, 70 degrees. A little light sun coming through on my head. It's gorgeous, beautiful.
Mm.
I have a hoodie on, which I'm a little warm with. Uh, but if I just had a t-shirt on, I'd be nice and cool. It's great. It's that mountain weather.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys have never experienced like mountain weather at that elevation, it's it's something else. It just feels so nice. I don't know. Quito made me a believer in the mountain weather.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Cusco is the one
And
that did it for
Cusco,
me.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. If this open, I mean, like I already told you, like if stuff would open up, like I definitely, to Europe and everything. So like there's a chance I would just do a month in Cusco, just not doing anything. Maybe doing stuff on the weekends, just Airbnb for a month, just living there, go and get coffee in that little bohemian district, that little bohemian area that they
that
have there.
that place was awesome.
That I mean, I could do that. That would be a great month. Just walking down little cobblestone streets, getting my coffee. Nothing wrong with it. It'd be awesome.
It's totally just has this like really cool vibe because of all the like small alcoves, and then you got the like the walkways. It's almost like they got these roads, but they're like really tiny, and then it just has kind of like that. You could tell that it has that Spanish influence in there, but it's got kind of the indigenous. It's got some of the indigenous feel to it too. So it's like the combination of everything. Um, and then it's almost like you can get lost too because of the way like all the roads and the
you
pathways
get
led to.
you get a little turned around. Like if you're zigzagging through and you're like yeah, you get a little left, a little right. You can be like, this is not the right plaza. Like, where am I supposed to be going? Um, no, I love that city. That was a good city.
Yeah. So um, no, that's really cool with the whole traveling thing, and you know I'm in the same camp about the whole travel. I mean, right?
Yeah,
We're in that situation. I'm actually trying to plan to get out there, but there's a lot of stuff going on uh, this week for me, so I'm trying to nail that stuff down. But as far as the traveling goes, besides the whole COVID thing, I just feel like you know I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, is that as long as everyone's practicing, kind of the whatever the rules that are imposed in an area, it's not that bad to be going around to some of these places. On top of the fact too, like um, there's communities out in these other areas, and some of the businesses are, driven by tourism, so it's
yeah. Like I mean, yes. Like for some people that are like strongly on the other side, they're like, no, they might say like, oh, hey, like you're a jerk. You should be staying home. Like, okay, I understand that. You have your opinion, but at the same time, I mean, there are people that are still trying to like survive and live and run restaurants and hostels. And if I wasn't out here traveling rather responsibly, I have my mask with me. I follow all the guidelines. I don't scream at people about wearing masks and stuff. Like it's not how I am. Like, it's you put the mask. It's mask time. You put your mask on. No big deal. But
all
if
right.
I wasn't out here supporting this, I mean, these, and other people weren't out here still supporting these places and going out to them. Where, what would they be doing? Where would these people be working? What would be going on?
Yeah, yeah. I just had to laugh a little bit because Aaron 5 asked a couple questions here. What if you get followed by a bear while you're hiking? Do you bring bear repellent? Which is a legitimate
So
question.
I was going to pick some up. So when I went over to the REI, so I told you. So first of all, I lost my dry fiber towel at Stupid Ember Hostel. The one that I first showed last week, I liked them, but then they told me to take my feet off the coffee table when I was working. Now I'm mad at them. All over that. We had an incident. So Ember Hostel, bad day. They're off my list. Forget them. Come to the bivvy. But that, so I left my microfiber towel there, and I don't want to talk to him, so I wouldn't call him and tell him to set it aside. So I just said I'm gonna buy another one. I don't want to talk to them at all, so I'm just buying. So that's why I went to REI. So I go and get another one. I was like, well, like some of these hikes, especially like Rocky Mountain National Park around here, like the bears are like that's a real thing. Like I told you, there's been mountain goats, there's been moose, like there could be a bear. Yeah, so they're yelling, we're out of paddles for basically every type of kayak you could ever imagine. She had like a 10-minute list of kayak paddles they were out of. We're also out of bear repellent, bear spray. You can't get any. There was none. So I might go back over and actually. So the issue is I couldn't fly out here with it. Like you can't. I would have to have checked the bag. You can't fly with that. That's definitely over.
Why is that?
With like, this aerosol can being over the amount. That'll totally be over the amount. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they sell like plain travel bear repellent size. I don't think they cater to that. Excuse me, do you have a 3.5 ounce bear repellent spray? But yeah, no. Currently, no. So the long story short, currently, no. I'm gonna get eaten by that bear. I have nothing.
Well, you know what it is? It was probably a good thing that you were hiking like close to some of the people because it all turns into who runs the fastest.
Yeah. No, I was safe. I was way faster than a majority of them. I was out of there. I would be out of there.
But great, hey, Aaron 5. Thank you for that question. That's actually a really good question, and it totally makes sense. I mean, there's wildlife in these places, and it's good to take those types of precautions. I usually take a machete when I go hiking. Not that that's going to do anything to a huge brown bear or anything like that, but
smaller stuff.
I'll take my chances.
Mountain lion might help you out against a mountain lion. That bear is going to mess you up, though.
Oh, I better roll a natural 20.
Yeah,
with a bear. To get one good critical hit, but even then, it's like, nah, that's probably not happening.
No, not at all. So now, good question. No, so they were out, and I say honestly, most people out there didn't see it, but like out Rocky Mountain National Park has, I believe they specifically have like a bunch of bears, and they honestly, from one person, told you the guy that I met up with, Jeff, and everything, went hiking with him. They're out here, they camping all the time. I guess like bears really, they aren't a bother. Like they do run off on you, but there is a point where actually like a bear does get hungry enough that it would come eat you. So like there's a story every once in a while. He told me one terrible story. It was like a few years ago. They're sleeping in the tent. Bear rips open tent, head chomp, bites the head off, took the body. Like, what? I was like, oh, great story to tell me as I just get out here. Thanks, Jeff. Awesome. So, like, yeah, it happened a few years ago. Like, well, we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't happen to me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, you got to wrestle the bear.
Yeah. Yeah. I might just play dead.
That actually might be the effective thing to do.
Yeah. You can't have a tough to outrun. No, they usually just run off, but.
Oh man. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions out there, drop us a line. Cruz, again, this is live. Obviously, it's not him live doing some hiking because there probably is no Wi-Fi out there. But I feel like the internet is pretty good at that hostel compared to Ember.
Internet here has been awesome. Like it's dropped once or twice, but as far as being slow, no, not at all. Great speed. Everything's really good with that. It's just dropped a few times.
Yeah.
And in response to out on the trails, basically every time I've hit every single trail, no service. Done. Service completely gone until I'm back like on the road.
Now, what do you carry with you? Do you have a food supply? Do you have a compass? What is?
Yeah, I've been going heavy. Just because I want to have all this stuff. And actually, there's a few more things that I'm probably going to add to my pack as just always with me, even for day hikes. And so like I definitely want an ultralight like 2-person tent. That's just always in my bag,
Mm.
just always with me, just because. So right now, though, I have my compass, I have my whistle, I have my first aid kit, I have my poncho. I've been carrying, even on shorter hikes, I've been carrying anywhere between 3 to 4 liters of water on me, which
Mm.
is not light. Um,
Sure. That's like a gallon.
yeah. It's a fair bit of water. My poles, my poncho, a backup hoodie, a raincoat, um, some Advil. That's about it.
Mm.
And then food. So I usually go out with at least like 3 or 4 bars, and then a bag of like trail mix and a bag of like some other dried fruit, dried bananas, dried mangoes, or something like that. Load up the whole bag with all that, and then I go.
Now, do you have like a system that you use when you're eating these snacks and drinking water, or are you just kind of whenever you feel like it?
So I have my hydration, my camel bag. So I'm sipping on that pretty consistently, because once you get dehydrated, like you can't
There's no turning back.
rehydrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sipping on that pretty consistently. While I'm hiking, if I start to get a little, I'll eat my bars because I keep them in like a quick grab location on my hips, just where my bag is. So I use that. And then when I actually get to like a peak or my final point, that's when I'll break out, go in the bag. I'll get out the trail mix. I'll fill up with like a serving or two of that. And then I'll use my side waters, which are tougher to grab while I'm walking. I'll drink my side waters when I'm actually at the spots, because if they're just in odd spots, it's a good time to actually drink that water, and I'll save my camel bag for sipping on.
Mm. Interesting.
So I try, yeah, just so that I can easy grab and just grab it, stuff it back in while I'm like still going along. You don't have to take your bag off. Putting that bag, taking the bag on and off and back off in the middle of a hike. I don't really care for it. Once you get that bag off, it's like it's off. So
Yeah, yeah.
I try and just leave it on. So anything I can do to like put my essentials. Oh, I have a headlamp with me always. If you happen to get stuck out there and it's getting a little dark, like, having a lamp, especially a headlamp that you can go with is pretty handy. Um,
Do you have
but
a fire starter or anything, or something to make a
I have
spark?
a lighter. Yeah, I keep a lighter with me. I should keep something that's a little more durable in case it gets wet. But right now I just have a lighter.
Mm.
But a little good classic little flint and steel wouldn't be the worst thing to have. I didn't bring it with me, but I have a little rope and bungee cords and stuff that I can usually throw in my bag. I needed the extra space just traveling this time, and I didn't think I was going to be out for days at a time, so I left that stuff at home. But definitely would love to add just a super ultralight tent to that setup. Oh, I have my water purification tablets too. Sorry. Just in case you get stuck out, you drink all your water, whatever. I have a backup fresh supply of the water purification tablets so you can fill up and then drop them in there. I probably should have a filter. I mean, the tablets cover it, but you might get a little sediment in there. Yeah, you won't get sick. You get some water to drink. The filter will do both.
Yeah.
Um,
So Aaron 5 also asked, what do you wear to a hike to better protect you? And I'm guessing, and I'm only guessing this, probably a combination of comfort, but also, whatever, the environment. Maybe I'm guessing that there's probably not as many bugs as you travel farther up the mountain.
No, up above, but I've been near a lot of lakes. There's actually a lot of like small lakes that are formed in some of the valleys up here. There's mosquitoes and stuff near there. So I have for particularly for like bugs, I have two types of bug spray. I have the 100% DEET, which use that with caution. It's really strong. And then I have a lesser like 40% DEET for like my face, because I'm not putting the 100% DEET on my face near my eyes and stuff. Fine on the clothing for the most part. Don't put it on any of the real plasticky rain jackets. That 100% DEET will melt through those, so you don't want to do that. For clothing, my go-to right now, I have a nice pair of Prana Stretch Zions. So Pranas, they make a ton of different stuff. as far as clothing, hiking gear goes, and even just kind of like everyday gear stuff. A little pricier, extremely highly rated. I mean, these things are extremely comfy, durable. Um, they're long, but they're light, water resistant, not water repellent. So for up here, I would throw those on, and then I would throw on like a dry fit t-shirt. So kind of like one of your better bang for your bucks is like your Nike dry fit t-shirts, which dry super fast. You have those on, and then also I have, like a Columbia or even Cull make some of the like the vented long sleeve shirts. You can throw one of those on top as well if it's a little cool. Take that off. You do that around here, and if you have like in the bag, you have the backup hoodie and the rain jacket and everything. That's more than enough layers. It would have to get really cold to go through all of that. Um,
So
I have
so typically it's a lot of the underneath clothing is really more of a polyester base, and then so kind of like having a base layer to wick off the sweat, but also
yeah
keep you cool, and then something that kind of insulates some of the heat, and then if just in case it rains, you have something that can shield you from the elements, just in case it rains or snows or whatever.
yeah. If it's a shorter hike, I mean, try and stay away from your. I have worn them, but try and stay away from your full cottons. Like once those get sweaty,
Oh God,
like
they
they
stay wet forever.
yeah, like you'll feel it. So like you won't notice it when you're hiking, but then you'll get so you start at 10, especially here in a little higher altitude. You'll start at 10, you'll hike up to 12, 12.5, you're sweaty, you're soaked by then, but you're fine. You stop up there and you're like you actually get a little cold. Like
Mm.
it's actually a little chilly. It's like even from here, like the temperature is going to drop another 10 degrees going up that. Your sweat start, that stays soaked. So you really want to avoid those. Go with layers. Definitely for your upper body, especially where your backpack is and everything it gets sweaty. Like that backpack, your back gets sweaty with that
Mm.
backpack right in there. So you definitely want your under layers, like you were saying, always the dry fit. I'm a big fan of those Prana Zion stretch pants right now. Um, they're durable. They feel good. No chafing. They're great, great, great hiking pants.
Yeah, the material I want to say is like a polyester base. Typically those are the types that you want to that helps wick the sweat, and then also a combination of like nice and stretchy. So
Yeah, it's a good blend. They got a nice little stretch to them. Um, those have been solid. And then if I'm wearing shorts, I have a pair of Culls and a pair of Pranas um, as well, hiking shorts. Both of that same kind of polyester base. Honestly, they actually look pretty stylish. Like you can wear them to like go out and get dinner and stuff in them too. But they're
mm,
also great for like hiking. And then the Pranas are actually like swim trunks at the same time. You can totally just go swim in them. They dry off super fast. Yeah, they're like those in particular are like a great triple combo.
yeah,
Um,
it's like the Swiss Army knife of shorts.
yeah, they're really solid. Up here, depending on what hike, you can absolutely wear shorts. Tons of people are wearing shorts. I wouldn't wear shorts doing a 14er. It's cold up at the top of there. I was like bundled up at the top and I was sweating. But on that day, on those days, when you got up above at 14,000 up there, I was in my pants, t-shirt, that long sleeve, and my jacket. And there was a couple times that I was like, I'm gonna keep moving. It's a little chilly. Like it was the wind when that wind started whipping. Like it wasn't very warm up there. So yeah, it's definitely all about planning. Altitude changes a ton. Um, but yeah, for my day bag, definitely want like that, just that all encompassing day bag where if worst comes to worst, like you're still good for a few days.
Mm.
Um,
Now, did you find that other hikers were doing the same thing? Like it looked like they had, a reasonably large amount of stuff with them,
so these are
or
pretty popular trails, so I don't think people are too worried about it. Now, a lot of them were pretty light. Some of them were a little heavier, some of them were like super light. You could just tell by their bags and everything. I would say I was probably carrying one of the heavier bags out of the people that I saw.
mm,
Um, Not by a ton, but definitely heavier than most. gonna go just on the water weight alone. I mean, then you see people without even bags. They just got the little thing, or like somebody that they're with is carrying the other thing, carrying the water or something. But I
They
mean,
got a
it's
porter.
yeah, yeah. They have a porter.
So
But
yeah,
that's all right. A few extra pounds, you just train a little harder. It's fine. No big deal.
yeah. So Aaron five, thank you for the question. Yeah, that was actually a really good question. We went off to a lot of different directions with that, but I think I hope that answered your question, Aaron.
The pants are a little, up in the air, especially guys versus girls. Sometimes you can go out. There's some great dry wick and leggings that have different thicknesses on them for ladies that are awesome to hike in. But definitely like for your top and everything, yeah, you always want to do the dry wick and then keep an extra layer or two in your bag. You'll be fine.
Mm, that was great. So we're actually coming into the hour here. We're about 4 minutes out. So if anyone has any additional questions about the hiking, the food, I know Penny Pincher there was asking about the cooking thing. So that might look like
So
it'll be in
I
the
might
near
be,
future.
yeah. If I'm in an Airbnb coming on that Monday night, maybe I'll go down try and pick up some local goods, especially if I'm in Estes Park, which is known for like having a lot of like local producers. Whether it's honey to this rock store that I heard about, I'm not going to the rock store. Okay.
Rock
No,
store.
that's a lie. I actually will. Yeah, just they sell rocks. I heard about this from the people that I know. They're like, oh yeah, they have a rock store. I'm like, why would I go to a rock store? I'm gonna go to the rock store. I'm not buying a rock, but I'll go.
You don't want a pet rock?
No. So, but they have a lot of maybe I can try and see what's around there and do pick up some local things. And if I'm in Estes Park at like an Airbnb there, do a little cooking with some local ingredients or something.
All right. Yeah. So again, anyone with any additional questions, drop us a line. Um, we're here every Monday, and it's a little bit. I know Penny Pincher's a little bit off the beaten path here because Cruz is out there, but part of what he's doing is also doing some exploration. So that might be, we'll get the cooking stuff is around. I mean, we do try to talk about the food while he's out there, and currently it's just right now a lot of it is the hiking stuff. And I think I would imagine too, it's a little bit difficult, right, to try to get some of the food stuff kind of
It's tough.
squared away at these locations.
Yeah, it's a little tough being back and forth, and it's a little tough even just going out to some restaurants and stuff can be a little difficult. Just because they're at 50% capacity. Most of the bars aren't. I don't mean by like going out to like a bar, but I mean like the bar at the restaurant, like you can't even sit at a lot of these places. So it's a little difficult to go out and manage those. And then not so much here; they're a bit better. But even at the last hostel, like the current rule was only one person in the kitchen at a time. That's impossible to. Yeah, that was their rule because just to keep people separated. So I mean, how are you gonna? That's impossible to cook it. Then I didn't even debate that when I was in Denver. I was like, yeah, no, like we'll just be going out, having some dry goods and stuff.
And how would you rate the food here again? Just for some of the people that kind of jumped on a little bit later.
Food in Breckenridge has been good. I'm gonna say, who the biggest issue with the whole food situation is? It's not the places. It's TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor has some terrible ratings on some places. Not accurate at all. We saw this in Lima too.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got some of these ratings, but they're not accurate. So you got to pick and choose. I will say that downtown Breckenridge, the canteen is awesome. Great place. That is by far the best restaurant that I've been to since I've been in Denver. Just their service and the quality of their stuff was unbelievable overall.
So all right, we're coming into the hour, and again, so the title of this was, I'm using this as part of a series right? Because you're out there. It's a bad time to travel. Just some
Yeah.
closing, just closing comments. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, again, one being the worst, 10 being the best. I mean, what's your take on the whole travel situation? Is it, I mean, you came in there in Denver, and I think part of the reason why maybe your review of Ember is a little bit lower than normal because you were in a different state of mind. But just overall, just what's your feel right now? Because you're out there in the room, right? And you're doing this thing. It's live. I mean, what's your take about this whole travel situation? Is it something that you recommend, or is it something that you know, like people should stay at home? What's your take?
So if you're gonna travel, obviously travel responsibly. You're in the airport, you wear your mask, you're out. I still I recommend it completely. Honestly, I think you can absolutely go out, travel, still go out. You're not going to be able to do all the same stuff. Places are going to be at 50%, but it's no different. I mean, unless you're completely holed up and not going out to restaurants and not doing anything at home, then I don't really see what the difference is traveling between what you're already doing at your house or the area that you grew up, you live in, or anyways now. You go to a restaurant there, or you go to a restaurant here. I mean, I'm going out and I'm hiking. You're just going to have to change what you're doing. You're not going to Disneyland. There's no Disneyland vacations. You're not going to sporting events. You're not going to concerts. There's still a ton of things out there, a ton of places that you can go, see, do. The hostels, the hotels, everybody's taking extra precautions, running at 50%. You can go out, you can be responsible, and you can still support these people that no matter what goes on, going to let you in on a little secret. Whether you go out and support them and get food from them, or stay with them and give them money, or your tax dollars go to them in another stimulus, you're still going to give them money. You might as well get a little food or fun out of it while you're giving them some money.
And that's actually a really good perspective.
I mean, you can pick how they get your money. I chose to give it to them directly instead. So that's
So,
just me.
yeah. So with one last comment here, Penny Penny Fincher says, "Go to the rock store and pick up a stone to cook a steak on."
All right, fine. I can make the fine. Make me buy a stupid rock.
All right. So I think we'll close it at that. So hey, thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us in this episode. It means a lot to us because like Cruz and I are doing this, and he's putting himself out there, you know, and it's a strange time to be traveling, but it's not necessarily a strange time to live life. That sounds super cheesy, but honestly, um, and we're getting direct feedback of what it's like out there, and what he's experiencing. And early on, the nerves were there, but I feel like a lot of it's calmed down. He's in a smooth, kind of very smooth and relaxed kind of situation there, which is nice to see. But yeah, so tune in next week, guys. Thank you for joining us. Cruz and I are gonna have a little discussion afterwards, as we usually do. But
Yeah, of course.
be on the lookout for the next episode. So thank you guys very much.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.